In this video, I'm going to show you everything you need to know about how to build the strongest and healthiest heart you possibly can. Now, if you're an entrepreneur, that probably means that you're getting your brain and your body under decent amounts of stress daily. And if you're watching this video, it probably also means that on top of the stressors you already put your body under, you also have other stressors you might consider good stress. Things like caffeine, fasting, exercising, cold showers, saunas, etc. The very important thing you need to understand is that if your body isn't capable at dealing with stress or handling stress or at staying within the optimal stress range, it will put you at risk of potentially developing heart problems. Not only that, but as it was very nicely mentioned in the book Outlive by Dr. Peter Attia, the 4 horsemen of chronic disease are the 4 main reasons people die from, excluding other sources or people dying from accidents, of course. To quickly give you some context, if not from an accident, touch wood, all of us will die from one of the 4 horsemen: heart disease, cancer, neurodegenerative diseases, most predominantly being Alzheimer's, and diabetes. Now, in this video, I have collected the strongest tools you can use to make sure that you build the most strongest and healthy heart you possibly can. And by the way, for those of you who are new here to this channel, my name is Manush and I coach high-performing entrepreneurs to help them maximize their performance and productivity by optimizing their health based on a data-driven system. Everything I'm about to give you here is based on a lot of studies, research, and things that actually will improve your heart health. The first and most important thing you need to start with is testing. Not supplements, not dieting, not exercising, but most important of all, determining your risk factor and what exactly you need to improve and work on. So the most important tests you need to take, first of all, is something called ApoB. Most of you probably are aware of HDL cholesterol, LDL cholesterol, but what's most important is the vehicles that actually carry the cholesterol to the body. And this is what we measure. When you actually test your blood, the things that you find when you account for cholesterol levels is the lipoproteins. And the lipoproteins, when we're talking about ApoB, they are the vehicles that carry the cholesterol inside them, the passengers, let's say, and they distribute it to the body. Now, the ApoB is a family of lipoproteins that are the strongest effect of blocking the arteries and blood vessels, and they cause heart problems like stroke or a heart attack. So again, lipoproteins, they are tagged. They have different families. We have the ApoB family and we also have the ApoA family. So we have 2 different tags. The most dangerous family of lipoproteins of vehicles, of cars, is the entire ApoB family that has been linked with a lot of heart problems, which contribute to the blockage of your arteries and blood vessels and will cause strokes or heart attacks. So what you need to do is essentially test your ApoB levels. So this is why you need to test ApoB first of all. This is because a lot of people go for LDL, HDL, etc. The most important thing is ApoB, first of all. The second thing you need to test for is lipoprotein little a. So lipo-A. Again, lipoprotein is the vehicle that carry cholesterol around the body. Your cholesterol doesn't just flow in your bloodstream in and of itself. They are in a vehicle, lipoproteins, like the ApoB tag. So the lipoproteins little a are very closely associated with heart risks, heart attacks, strokes. And the funny thing is that they're mostly affected by your genetics. So there's little you can do to change your lipoprotein little a because they are like the biggest factor, the most determining factor here is genetics. You want to test this once in your lifetime and you want it to be less than 30 milligrams per deciliter. Anything more than that, if you have higher levels than 30 milligrams per deciliter, you need to do everything in your power to lower your risk of heart disease. Everything else in your power. No smoking, no drinking, lower down LDL. We're going to talk about this in a moment. But essentially, after ApoB, we have lipoprotein little a. And this is purely genetics. This increases your heart risk by a lot. So you need to understand where your lipoprotein little a levels are in order to act accordingly with your diet, with your lifestyle, with your sleep, etc. The next thing is your good old general cholesterol panels. to test your HDL levels, to test your LDL levels, and to mainly see what you need to change about your diet. Again, we talked about the ApoB and the lipoprotein(a). You probably know that lipo-A is purely genetics. If it's higher than 30 milligrams per deciliter, you have a higher risk of heart problems. So what you need to do is to lower all the other factors as much as you possibly can. Now, the most important things here is LDL cholesterol and HDL cholesterol. LDL cholesterol, because it can easily flux around the bloodstream. When you're in excess of LDL cholesterol, it can be dumped in your artery walls and it can cause blockages. So this is why it's important to lower down as much as possible. The ideal ratio here is below 70 milligrams per deciliter, and you need to test this ideally every once a year. Some people do it twice a year. I safely recommend doing that once a year if you truly want to be on top of the game. LDL levels below 70 or around 70, maybe 80. Now your HDL levels, your HDL cholesterol, which is the good cholesterol, is essentially the way of your body knowing how to utilize cholesterol, how to funnel it into your liver so your liver can do its job and remove cholesterol, excess cholesterol from the body, and also utilize cholesterol to build your cell membranes, DNA, testosterone, etc. So what you need to do is max out HDL levels, minimize LDL levels. All the other things are kind of irrelevant. The most relevant things is, ApoB, lipoprotein(a), LDL levels, maxing out HDL levels. So this is what you need to do, the general cholesterol panel. The next thing you need to test for heart health is something called HbA1c. This is the most important marker for diabetes, and this will show you your average blood glucose levels for the past 2 to 3 months. Now, you might think that you can do this by just doing a regular blood sugar or insulin test, and this is a decent way to figure it out, but the most important metric is your average. To give you another analogy, it doesn't matter if you make like 1K today for one day, because if we will look back in the last 2 to 3 months, you could have been making like 2K a month average, and you might claim that today I made 1K in a day, which means that if you tell that to somebody, he thinks like you're making 1K a day times 30, you're making like 30K a month or something. No, we're more interested in actually seeing your average blood glucose level for the past 3 months instead of seeing your blood glucose for the day, because there are a lot of variables that can change your blood sugar deviations, and it's not really relevant. It's not really accurate. You do this again once or maybe twice a year for optimal measuring, and then you make sure you're in the optimal ranges, which you have a chart. You just make sure you're scoring the optimal ranges, and it's a very, very strong marker: heart health, diabetes, and overall health, metabolic health mainly. So those are the tests you need to make sure to absolutely do for heart health: ApoB, lipo-A, general cholesterol panel, and HbA1c. Next thing after you determine that is actually, after you determine the tests, you will be able to modify your diet and tweak your diet. The first thing you need to do is eat based on your test results. I had a client the other day and he told me that his lipoprotein(a) levels were 40 milligrams per deciliter or 45, where the normal, the safe range is below 30. That automatically puts him in a greater risk of heart problems, and his LDL levels were 120, which is high risk. So he needs to do everything he possibly can to eat based on the test results to lower down his heart risk factors. So the main thing is eating based on the test results, because things that you can see on the internet, that people claiming that beef is the most nutrient dense, like beef liver, for example, kidneys or heart or testicles, those things are very nutrient dense indeed. But for somebody with a very high ApoB level or a very high lipo-A level, that is not always the case. Like, you need to eat foods that are very rich in HDL cholesterol, in healthy fatty acids, to raise your HDL level so you can dump out the excess cholesterol from your body. You need to do things that another person doesn't really need to do that much, because you're focused on basically improving your own markers. So the first thing is following a diet which is based on your test results. Second thing is controlling your calories. So another main simple thing, just control your calories so that you're able to essentially manipulate your body weight to improve your metabolic health. A lot of the times, if you have a high HbA1c, one of the top things you can do apart from eating based on your results is controlling your calories. In order to improve your insulin sensitivity, in order to improve your metabolic health, you you need to lose fat. By controlling your calories, not tracking every single macro, but controlling your calories will allow you to manipulate what you're eating, what you're expending, so that you can lose fat. One of the main things you have to do by controlling your calories is losing fat. Simple. You increase your metabolic health, your heart health, by losing fat. If you stay within the range of 12 to 15% body fat, that's the healthiest body fat range you can absolutely stay on year round. If you build enough muscle, not only you will improve your insulin sensitivity, because your muscle will require to utilize glucose, and as a result, muscle cells will require a ton of carbs, essentially, so you will be more insulin sensitive automatically, but also you will have an increased metabolic health. If you acquire muscle, not only in 12 to 15% body fat, you will look leaner, you will have better metabolic health, you will be more insulin sensitive, your heart is going to be healthier. And then in the diet section, also, if you're eating based on your test results, if you're controlling your calories, if you're losing fat, also incorporate more heart healthy foods, more heart healthy ingredients. Things like IFOS certified fish oil, things like ubiquinol, things like citrus bergamot, resveratrol. Foods that will help you have a stronger and better heart. Things that will help increase your HDL levels, like extra virgin olive oil, like macadamia nuts, like wild caught fish, avocados, eggs. All those things will improve your HDL cholesterol levels, and as a byproduct will help you improve your heart health. Now that we got the main two things covered, testing and diet, we go to the third thing, which is your exercise. The most important metric is your cardio. Probably the most boring thing for a lot of people. The least sexy thing to do and the most, let's say, laborious thing is cardio. The most optimal range based on studies is to be in the zone 2 cardio, which is essentially the zone of cardio in which you're able to maintain a conversation, not too comfortably. If you go a bit stronger and a bit more intense than that, you're not able to maintain a conversation. So that is, in simple words, zone 2 cardio. You need to stay in that zone 2 cardio for 3 hours a week total. And we're talking about optimal heart health. So they done studies in which they measured the amount of training and the amount of cardio different people in different groups did. They found that zone 2, 3 hours, and then 1 session of VO2 max training a week provided the most optimal outcome in terms of cardiovascular health. This will simply help you not only improve your metabolic health, there are a ton of byproducts when you're doing cardio. Let's analyze a few of them. The most instant one is that you will have a 10x increase in your mood. This is a simple one. You will notice better sleep, because if you're doing cardio, especially in the morning, you're improving your cortisol production, therefore your melatonin production. So better sleep, better recovery. You're losing fat. If you're doing 3 hours of zone 2 cardio and then a session of VO2 max training, you're going to burn a ton more calories than you otherwise would, which will subsequently improve your metabolic health. So it's not only about one thing, but it's like a million different things that you achieve with it. So 3 hours of zone 2 cardio a week with 1 session of VO2 max training. To just give you a quick high-level overview what VO2 max is. VO2 max is a very strong metric, a very significant metric of longevity. What it does is the speed with which your lungs can take oxygen from the atmosphere, take it in your lungs, and then use it in your bloodstream and then in your muscle cells. So how quickly can you take the oxygen that is in the air into your lungs and then subsequently into your muscle cells? The faster you can do that, the better longevity markers you have, and you improve that by doing VO2 max training. The way that in which you do VO2 max training, not to get into granular here, but it is a 4-minute all-out 100% effort set, let's say, followed by a 4-minute rest period. You repeat that for 4 rounds. Okay, so that's all you need to do once a week. VO2 max training, 4 minutes of all out, followed by 4 minutes of rest, like complete rest, and then you go back, do this again, repeat that for 4 sets. That's it. That's cardio power. That is going to help you optimize your cardiovascular health. Let's say minimize risk factors as much as possible. Optimize your mood and also your performance. Next thing is strength training. Another very strong longevity metric is strength. And they calculated a graph and they compared those with the highest rating of strength with those in the lowest rating of strength. And they noticed a 70% decrease in all-cause mortality simply by strength. And they measured things like grip strength, dead hangs, air squats, how fast you can stand and sit up from the chair and sit back down, things like this. And so when we're talking about improving your heart health, training in the gym, lifting weights, to set it simply, will improve things like your mitochondria. mitochondria, will help your mitochondria produce more ATP, which is the energy currency for all of your cells. Having more ATP production will also contribute to you performing better, but also having a better and stronger heart. Also, improving your mitochondria as a result of that will improve your ability to utilize and burn fat, which will lower your cholesterol, which will improve your metabolic health. And by doing all of those great things, building muscle, improve your mitochondria by doing the ATP thing, you will build a faster metabolism, so to say. You will have more muscle. More muscle will automatically require more energy, more calories just to maintain. So if I put on 2 kgs of pure muscle right now without doing anything else, I will require a bit more calories in order to just maintain my physique, which means that I will be able to stay leaner and lose fat easier without adding extra cardio, extra walking, extra dieting, just by increasing muscle size. So you automatically render your metabolism healthier. To put it simply, exercise is the only thing that will improve all of your health markers without changing what you eat, to put it simply. Let's go to the fourth thing, which is sleep, particularly deep sleep. I have a ton of videos that I'm talking about REM sleep. I have a ton of videos and I'm speaking about how do we optimize cognition and energy and performance through things like REM sleep and how to manipulate our environment to get better REM sleep. But here, if we're talking about maximizing heart health, we're going to be mainly focused on deep sleep. To set it simply, guys, deep sleep is the strongest and most potent tool to protect your heart. It is the most protective blood pressure medication that you can ever find. Should you put sleep and deep sleep in a pill, it would cost billions, probably. The reason that this happens is because while you're in deep sleep, your blood pressure goes at the lowest point. Your body's able to clear out cortisol built up from the day. If you're running a business, you're probably under a high stress environment. If you're dieting, if you're training, if you're doing cold showers, it's very likely that your cortisol levels will start building up, which is deadly for your heart. If you are in deep sleep, your body isn't able to register any external stimulus. Your heart goes at the lowest point, which is the most optimal range to measure your HRV as well, because your heart rate is at the lowest, your blood pressure is at the lowest, and your body clears out excess cortisol. By doing so, you're able to essentially protect your heart with a blood pressure treatment throughout the night. The most potent tool to optimize for heart health is deep sleep when it comes to sleep in and of itself. And then the next thing, after we're doing testing, diet, exercise, and sleep, we then go to supplements. Now, a few of the supplements I've already mentioned in the diet and the nutrition part, but the most cardioprotective and most heart healthy supplements you should take to maximize your heart health, to build the strongest and healthiest heart you can possibly build, are the following. We have the number one, which is ubiquinol, which is the most bioactive form of coenzyme Q10. Having said that, coenzyme Q10 is number 2. Citrus bergamot is number 3, and the reason is that it has shown through studies to significantly reduce triglyceride levels and LDL cholesterol levels. So citrus bergamot is number 3. Magnesium strongly helps with heart rhythm and also your blood vessels, your endothelial health, but also most importantly your rhythm. Vitamin K2 helps prevent calcification of arteries. Nattokinase, which is an enzyme created by a Japanese food called natto. It's essentially an enzyme that helps break down blood clots and clear out your endothelial health, your blood vessels. If you have, so nattokinase is extremely good. And then we also have resveratrol, which has been mentioned a lot of times in the biohacking, in the longevity space, but this is particularly important for endothelial function. So for the function of your blood vessels, of your arteries, resveratrol is actually a really good addition for that. Now, again, to summarize everything, let me go over everything. Ubiquinol, coenzyme Q10, citrus bergamot, magnesium, vitamin K2, nattokinase, and resveratrol. So those are the top heart health supplements you can ever take. Note here, if you're going to take ubiquinol, do not also take coenzyme Q10 because ubiquinol is essentially a better coenzyme Q10 form. So either pick ubiquinol or coenzyme Q10. I would 100 times much rather go with ubiquinol and then just take all the other stuff. And take into consideration that this is provided that you do the previous things. This is provided that you do the testing, provided that you're optimizing your diet based on the testing, that you are exercising appropriately, doing enough cardio, that you're optimizing your sleep, And then on top of that, you can benefit from the supplement, from the 7 supplements that I mentioned, 6, 7 supplements. So this is the strongest and most effective data-backed tools you can use to maximize your heart health, to build the healthiest heart you can possibly build, so that you not only prevent the risk of heart problems, have simply a healthy heart, high testosterone levels. Keep in mind that testosterone, you might hear a lot about testosterone, you might be a fan of boosting your testosterone levels. One of the strongest tools you need to focus on for improving your testosterone levels is your heart health, because your testosterone requires blood in order to go to the androgen receptors around the body, and blood requires a heart to pump the blood around the body, obviously, right? So the stronger and better able your heart is at sending and pumping blood, the better your testosterone is going to be delivered around the surfaces of the body, the androgen receptors. So this is the only toolkit you're probably going to need in your life to optimize your heart health and to live the longest and healthiest in terms of heart health and mitigating heart problems. So if this video was valuable, guys, make sure to leave a like down below, because it helps the algorithm so that more people benefit from this. And that being said, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, again, leave a like below, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.